We'll just spend a few minutes on a wrap-up at the end. And first and foremost, I want to thank everyone for coming out. And just a couple of questions before we talk through some of this stuff. How many of you are interested in getting the presentations from this event? Not bad. So let me tell you the process for getting presentations.
We could charge a lot for that.
No. I do something differently, Martin, in terms of, so I have a list of all of you, right? And I do a LinkedIn post. I did a LinkedIn post this morning. So I compare two lists. I look at this list of who you are in the room. I looked at the comments on my LinkedIn post. I do a match. No, all kidding aside. Thank you so much. I want to talk with you a little bit about what's next. And again, thank you for our sponsors and supporters. This event was like doing a startup. You know, I set up a reg, Martin and I with graphics across the board, and we only launched this like mid-December. And you're afraid mid-December when you launch an event just before Christmas. Normally you would not do that, but there are various reasons, another story, another time, on why I wanted to launch this in November. You think, will people come? Will people come? Martin and I were going back and forth, will people come? And then you never know until an event happens. You folks are just a list on a sheet. I love you all, but you're just a list on a sheet. And then list goes 200, 250, 300. I want to turn down 350, and you still wonder, will people show up? Monday, a great group was in here. More people came. Some dropped off. Freaking more than dropped off came. So we're like way over 300. And we've had a very good few days. I'm on the plane tonight. I'm flying to meet my wife in Austin I'll be quiet on LinkedIn for the next few days, or I'll be in deep trouble for a bit of vacation with my wife. But I'll put the survey out tonight. And I'll send you folks a note first thing in the morning of the community wisdom from the crowd. So you will get that. Next slide, Martin. Huge thank you from us. And we've had many other people that sort of have been involved. And we'll be sort of digesting feedback and things we've heard to think about all the what's next. And I'll talk a little bit in a minute. In addition to the slides that you'll get, the videos are being edited right now for these last few days of the session in the auditorium. We've had people in using that Otter.ai app I mentioned, going through 10 people scattered throughout all the sessions, collecting content, collecting photos. We've got the presentations. We collected the key money quote from each and every speaker. One takeaway from their session. We still have a few more to collect, but we got most of those. So did anyone read my post way back when they said we're going to produce an ebook out of this event? I made it all up. No. So putting it out there forces you to do something. And I had probably close to 30,000 views of that post on the ebook. And what we're doing, we're applying AI to basically look at all the presentations, look at the material. The model's going to be fed with PDFs on different SAP lingo to teach AI more SAP language, to then go through with a human editorial board to sort of craft the insights from the events. There's going to be a whole string of content that's going to be taken out starting in March of the videos from the event with the key takeaways. So we're going to string that out, and it's other curated wisdom from above. And you don't even know this yet, by the way. What we're going to do,
though, scares me.
Yeah, that's right. There may be some graphics involved in this. I think we're going to try to do the last week of March a bit of a Architects Week, and having a whole series of contents, learnings from this event, so we don't get too much distance away from this week. So a month from now, I'm going to maybe declare, Martin and I'll chat about this on the way back. End of March might be Architects Week for the community, where we'll share in different ways content and learning for the group overall, and also paint the picture of what's next. Sapphire and different things are coming. So that's a bit of the context of some of the things around this event. And I want to highlight as well a couple of cool things. Many of you have seen my post that this entire facility is booked next year for a year from today. We're back here again. So same pattern, Monday pre-cons, a whole series of 3 days, 2.5, 3 days of sessions afterwards is going to happen. Oh, and, Martin and I figured we need some more hotels around here, right? So we've arranged for a Marriott Autograph to be built next to the Hilton. So it'll be ready. I kid you not, it opens this fall. So it's just in time for us, so another venue we can sort of target a bit. Now let me just backtrack a bit. I get carried away, Martin, so you can interrupt me anytime. So I talk a lot about the community is everywhere, and the community is the ecosystem. So I post about this many points of times, and folks are probably wondering what the heck that means. Before we go to the next slide on that whole context, when I framed the enterprise architect SAP community, it's about the role, you, the people, not so much enterprise architecture part of it. And we've talked a lot with Feroz and others about the human elements of things. That's why we've been framing this logo and different things. Next slide, Martin.
I don't know if I put that slide in here yet, but...
Didn't put it in? It's okay.
Didn't make it.
So I have a slide, and maybe we'll go back to the previous one. I'll play like I'm guys that do things without slides. I have an image that I crafted and I put it this summer about the SAP community is everywhere and the community is the ecosystem. If you look at the SAP community overall, so glad my friends of ASUG are here as well. There are 40 plus user groups around the planet, 40 plus. And I got this slide that has all these logos around the world. You have ASUG and DSAG, which are the biggest. You have all over the planet, all these different user groups. They're all interconnected. We talked about connection. They all need to rise and thrive. You have the SAP community network overall, the SAP community side. All these entities, in essence, I believe, actually, the enterprise architect SAP communities is almost like a bit of an overlay. To work in conjunction with all these groups that are out there, so we all rise across the board. My crude analogy of this, it's almost like a franchisee model in a way where, you have this group of enterprise architects around the world that are helping provide input and engage with these entities, user groups around the planet. So they're engaged in helping, could be front end to other user groups events, could be embedded inside, but they're all helping each other to work together. And that's I'm sharing with you a bit of my belief on how this community could thrive, because I'm getting requests from all over, the South African user group, the India user group, the UK user group. I'm having a great conversation later today with my friends at ASUG across the board, that we don't need silos. There are different ways that we can work together to help everybody. What's been incredible to me is the fact that I can't believe how many of you came up to me and said to me, Paul, how can I help? And all of you that did that, and I know I said, yes, we'll get back to you later, but I really mean we'll get back to you later on that. And we've been very busy here, but I've been astounded about how many of you, I've never had that many people inside an event that I've done. And I've done events with ASUG back since 1994 in that time period, over 30 years. I've never had a community and have had so many people that come and said, how can I help? And you said how you can help in the diversity session not too long ago, that we asked the question, how many of you in the room would like to mentor others? Lots of hands went up. So there's so much that we can do, and we welcome your ideas. So when you get the wisdom of the crowd, that, as I said earlier, we're going to ask your input, and you got to give to get to help you crowdsource from a community. You're going to learn from it in what we share, and we're going to learn from you as well. So we're going to plan all kinds of virtual activities. We're going to plan meetups in different cities. I'm going to talk to my friends at ASUG about doing things inside their event and around. We're going to talk about doing things at Sapphire. So, and we're going to talk about, you heard a bit this morning, about doing some form of SAP Academy for Architects with Feroz at the Engineering Academy. So lots of stuff in the works. And Martin, while I take a breath, things to add.
Okay, let me tell you what's really going to happen here, okay? So, everyone get your phones ready, okay? Because it's not about Paul, it's not about me, it's about the community. And so there are a lot of community things happening. I just want to bring you up to speed on how can we extend it. A lot of people aren't aware that we have an EA community site on sap.com. Okay, this is a link that'll take you there. It'll boost the numbers for today. Thank you. But we have a lot of good conversations. One of the things we didn't spend a lot of time on at this forum was SAP Enterprise Architecture Certification. So when you hear the name like Rene DeDaniel, he is working on and putting the program together for Enterprise Architecture Certification. There is training that you can take for that, a 5-day EA course that SAP offers. All the good things that are happening, they're being discussed in the online in the forum as well. So we have that coming up. This is the front page of it. Right now we have about 1,560 members of people who subscribe to the content and get notified when new things happen. We're one of the top 3 interest groups in SAP. Registration for SAP Sapphire just opened up this week. Some of you might have received an email. There will be an EA pre-conference day on June the 3rd at Sapphire and ASUG's annual conference. So I recommend, here's a link that takes you to where you can find out more about the EA pre-conference day. And it's going to be, I'm trying to shake it up a little bit here. There's going to be some peer sharing. There's going to be some panel discussion. There's going to be who doesn't want to test drive Lean IX, okay? So we're going to be playing with a few things there, some follow-along type of exercises. So a full day of great content, just like Paul sets a pretty high, bar for content and bringing people in. So I've got a lot to match up here. So that's one thing that's happening as well. So like Paul keeps mentioning, we want to extend the conversation, whether it's online, at other events. Paul's got road shows up his sleeve and events that he hasn't even told me about. Just like this engineering thing. I wonder how much work's going to come out of that. But anyway, lots of good things. But just as a reminder, Paul already, stole this slide. Here's the dates for next year. So keep it in mind. It's going to happen.
So it's interesting, I forget who was in the room, but I love it when someone says, there was just one of them here this year, and they said, I'm bringing a bunch more next year as well. And actually, what's kind of cool is I'm glad I did not this room seats 189 people. You can throw in another 20 when standing in there, and the camera takes out maybe 5-6 seats, right? I did not want to cut it off at 200 people in the room. And I think you folks had the experience. Some people were upstairs watching, down and forth. I think people in general would prefer to have that ebb and flow between different things and interaction rather than, in essence, restrict it by that many people less, right? Was the experience good overall? Yes. Awesome.
Hey, Paul, a big shout out to the broadcast folks and the media room as well. Glenn and team and Brian and team, big shout out to you guys as well.
So just another data point, SAP has never had a customer event this big inside this facility. Never. Never. They've never done the broadcasting out in the booths in the different rooms for the overflow in this facility. I thought what we did was great with the monitors outside where you could see and talk to people. I thought that was pretty good, and the whole different vibe in here. And one other thing with my good friend Wendy Keene in the back, you saw Wendy speak. So one thing Wendy and I have been talking about, and I want to chat with my ASUG friends about it too, is basically, I got a sense in my roadshow there was a lot of interest in the topic of business architecture. Is there, just show of hands, any of you folks interested in the topic of business architecture in the room? Look around, hands up. Every freaking city I went in, these 19 meetups last year, the same percentage of hands roughly went up. So what Wendy and I want to figure out and open to ideas. So we talked about different constructs. She's in from in from Norway. She comes over here periodically through the year. We talked about, do we do a series of road shows with Wendy as one option. We talked about another option of basically having her come in here with the great broadcast facilities and basically do an in-person business architecture course for a day and broadcast out. So that's how you hit the most scale. So the thinking we're having right now is basically she would come in this facility. Give me some feedback afterwards on this, but I want to throw it out with you now to get some input. So we're talking maybe March 28th, 26th potentially, of basically doing a business architecture course here, one-day course on business architecture. kind of the what, why, and how sort of thing. There probably might be some Signavio and business capabilities embedded inside it. So do a session in here that's a day of learning, and basically at the same time, much like my camera friends are here that broadcast it out to different locations. And the construct is we could hit so many people on that one time, and then maybe plan the year some more regionalized local meetups for additional conversation versus having Wendy go across 5, 6 cities, blah, 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 hit it at scale more. Now, that option that I just went through in terms of pick a day, focus learning in here and broadcast out for those who get travel, how many of you think that's a good idea? Sold. Done. You folks all vote on it. Wendy will figure it out, and we'll figure out how to make it happen. See? No committees? Oh, I forgot to ask you, Martin.
We'll talk later.
Anything, Martin, in closing?
This all wouldn't have been possible. I know a lot of people put in a lot of work, but no one put in more work than Paul. So big shout out to Paul.
Thank you. Thank you. So go have a good lunch and do some more mingling. You people just are talking like crazy out in the hallway. Martin goes, "It's noisy out here." I said, "Yeah." So
see you next year.
And safe travels. Thank you.